Hey traders, this is Christian from Hertz, Tribeca Trade Group, and this is your market and option recap for Thursday, March 29th, quarter end, month end, and synthetic Friday, as I like to call it. So, a nice day overall on the indices, a nice bounce. We got going pretty early here. Actually, the first hour of the day was pretty quiet. Didn't see much option activity, didn't see a lot of interesting things on the tape, and then we just kind of took off, and the option activity picked up a little bit, and then we kind of just came in a little bit and just had a real nice afternoon. So different price action than what we've seen. However, it is quarter end. You could see that there was some decent flows here at the end of the day in terms of volume, which you can't see on this chart because I've got just S&P futures up here, but I wouldn't read too much into today's option activity. I'm sorry, into today's activity because it was quarter end. But I do think there was some constructive trades that went up on the tape, and I'm going to go over those trades in the option activity. So. I do think also today set up pretty well. We were talking about this in last night's video. Didn't really see any great like price signals to kind of get long. But sentiment was really bad. The put volume outweighed the call volume, which is generally a contrarian indicator when that takes place. Also, going back to sentiment, the fear and greed index was like, I believe it was under 5 yesterday. So you just couldn't get too much more fear and too many more bad things or bad headlines to hit the tape. So we were set up. We were set up for a squeeze. You never know if it's going to happen the day after, or if it's in the or if it could happen in the next couple of days. But it seems like we got that today. Very similar to how we ended the week last week, right? I mean, the sentiment was horrific, and we got that big bounce on the 200-day moving average on Monday. No follow through. So we just kind of have to see how that goes out for next week. However, let me talk a little bit about today's option flow. Pretty good, I would think. I think that people make a big deal of it who track option flow, on Twitter and so forth. I think there's a lot of other positive things, like just the sentiment getting very poor going into today. But let me just go into a couple trades that we did see for today. We started off to see some buying in FCX. And really how I use option activity, I don't mention this every day in these videos, so I'll mention it a little bit today. It's basically just a trade idea for me. So when I see FCX call buying right off the bat, I kind of look at the chart and say, hey, well, this theme's really been beaten up. I kind of look over at copper. Copper was pretty well bid today, and it could end up being a nice move. Same thing we saw a big block of U.S. steel calls. This is a name that I participated in. They bought these calls for, I believe it was, let's bring up trade alert here. I believe it was for 192. I got in at 193. Big block of May 37 calls, and I hit profit targets up to 230. So it wasn't a dynamite trade today, but certainly gave us plenty of opportunities to scalp today. And again, with this type of market volatility that we have, you could basically just day trade. What I've been doing with some trades is day trading and then keeping that last portion of the trade, maybe the last 25%, last 20% on, and keeping that trade on. This one I completely got out of altogether. So let me just talk about a couple of trades I did today in the trading room. Again, no major call volume in these names. Again, you don't need call volume to make names go up. Again, I stress this because I think people have, I see traders on Twitter saying, getting way too wrapped up into option activity. This was a trade that I put on today in IWM for 20 cents. I got out of it for around 60 cents today for a triple. Same thing with NVIDIA. We caught these today in the Tribeca trade room today. A lot of great teamwork today. NVIDIA I put on, and really, when you get to the end of the week and options expire same day, you really have an opportunity to kind of put on what I call a few lotto trades, where the trades expire the same day, but they're very low cost. You get a big move, and you've got a really big winner on your hands. Again, I call them lottos because you basically, when you're putting on these types of trades, there's no stopping. You basically put in what you're willing to lose on the trade. So I bought some NVIDIA calls today for 40 cents. And I hit a profit target as high as well over $2 on that. So again, that this doesn't happen every Friday. You do need some momentum And all these trades could be found, and I display all the trades in here, although I think I left a couple targets out. We were trading pretty quickly. You also won't hear me tweet too much in the afternoon, especially when I'm trading. We're here to trade, not to tweet. Some really nice trades in a couple day trades that we did today. Yeah, Nvidia. Yeah, I didn't put all the targets in here, but the last target I hit was over $2 today. A lot of traders in the room played Amazon. Again, no option activity in Amazon today to really speak of, but really a great day trading opportunity. Look at the range from where this was today. We had a couple of traders who picked this apart right on the lows of the day. 1378 was where this hammer was, all the way to 1450. So you're talking about almost a $70 move from lows to highs. So really an awesome looking trade. All right, so let me get into a couple of the blocks that we saw that I think were really interesting. This is a really nice trending stock right now. It's one of these enterprise or application software names, Zendesk. There's been huge strength in this group this year. So someone came in, and again, they're going out with plenty of time. They went out and October 60 calls. Again, I think these are much higher quality trades than somebody just purchasing weeklies or even front month trades for like $50,000. This is a nice $500,000 trade that someone came in and bought on the ask, and this was marked as a sweep as well. I put on a little bit of a trade in this one. I actually just went into the October 60s for now. I'll look to do something maybe a little bit different next week, but for now, just wanted to put the trade on because look at this trend, right? You had just a couple days of weakness, and again, I mean, you zoom out. I mean, this is a great looking trend. FireEye. This is a name that I've already been long in cash. I put on a little bit of an option trade as well. Again, nice looking block. Look at this. September 20 calls that went up for $1.20. $1 million. All right. So, again, a pretty big chip that somebody's putting down. There was a couple other trades like this as well. They escape me right now because it's been a long day. What else? A couple small trades. I mean, this stuff I think is interesting, but it's, these are pretty small trades. Penn, all of the gaming stocks were pretty showed some nice strength today. Look at Wynn Resorts was up 3.5%, and it seems like whenever volatility dies down, these casino stocks really perform pretty well right now. I've been long MLCO. There was a big call buyer earlier in the week. April call buyer in this one. Don't forget you have the Macau numbers this weekend, so it could serve as a catalyst for some of these names. Intel calls, nice block of those went up. Those did go up versus open interest. Visa, this is another trade. This did go up versus open interest, so I'll have to check this on Monday to be absolutely sure. But again, going out long term. So good to see some buyers, what appears to be some buyers come in and say, hey, enough is enough already. I'm going to buy the dip here, and I'm giving it plenty of time in case there's some short-term volatility. There was also a little bit of Las Vegas Sands calls today. Again, short dated, maybe a play on those Macau numbers. There was a couple blocks in energy that went up. Neighbors went up. There was a consumer staples trade that went up. A lot of contracts, but for a small amount of money. That's CAG. Should be on the list here someplace. 5,000 of those went up. Conoco also saw a little bit of call activity. This sign up, for some reason, somebody keeps buying April calls. They've been pretty consistent, even when the name's been going down. They started buying these. So I'm really interested to see what they're doing in this name. Considering that they've been buying into the weakness overall. I don't think this covers the earnings report, so maybe something else is going on in this name. Who knows? One other name, ERI. I've never traded this name before, but saw a decent amount of volume on the June 35 strike. All right, so that's it for the option activity. You just kind of take a look at the overall S&P. So good to see that we had this squeeze today, but just keep in mind we had a similar squeeze on Monday and didn't go very far. So I don't think we're completely out of the woods yet. Good to see the VIX really drop. The VIX dropped to I think 1997 it closed, but it's still pretty heightened. So if you're more of a swing trader, what I do is continue to go out with longer dated trades, and just day trade a lot more while the volatility is there. It's a positive that the volatility is there for if you're a day trader. If you're a swing trader, it's a little bit harder to trade options. Cash you don't have to worry about the implied volatility with regular stock trades, so that may be something with you. And the one point I just wanted to leave with on the weekend, which I think is always a point to stress, right? Everybody always asks for, hey, I would love to see when the market dips, I would go ahead and buy a lot. In reality, what happens is when there's a dip that happens in the market, everybody gets scared. And the people don't buy like they said that they were going to do when the market was on the highs. But take it for what it is. We're still at that 200-day moving average. I think you could definitely take some positions in here, just like we're seeing on the tape. Just make sure you're disciplined with your stops, right? If things start to break below the 200-day moving average, I don't think it's necessarily going to be game over for the entire stock market, but it may be volatility may pick up when stops are hit. There's going to be a lot of stops around that 200-day moving average. So make sure that you have that in check and that you're watching and that you're paying attention to when prices do break. If that happens, we've got more support down here, but just have to kind of just talk about what happens. And again, you have to have a plan going forward. You can't just say, hey, I'm going to buy and hope it goes up. You've got your defined support. Just like I say in any individual names that we take longs in, if you've got defined support and it breaks, you have to get out. You have to honor those stops. That's your trading system. That's your trading plan. But for now, we're holding the 200-day moving average and seeing, I think better quality of option flow. Just saying that it just looks like people are actually starting to take advantage of the dip and put some positions in place. So we'll see. I also like the fact that we've got the quarter behind us. There's a lot of quarter flows, a lot of stock flows that happen, today as well as, leading up to. Not all the quarter window dressing and so forth takes place on the last day of the quarter. It's really the week leading up to. So that's already gone. We don't have to worry about that. We'll see if new money comes into the market on Monday, on the 1st of the month. All right, guys, thanks for watching, and have a great weekend.